The Psychology of Money by Morgan Housel. I am Dr. K.N. Jacob. Introduction. It's not what you know, it's how you behave with money. Financial decisions are not made on spreadsheets. They are made based on our personal history, our worldviews, our ego, our personal pride, our incentives, our relationships. So it's not so much about what you know, but how you behave with money that matters. Ronald Reed was a janitor for 17 years, and he repaired cars in a gas station for 25 years. Yet, when he died at the age of 92, he was worth $8 million. He even donated $6 million to his local hospital and library. On the contrary, Richard Fuscon had an MBA from Harvard. He used to make a lot of money, so much that he retired at the age of 40. He bought a very huge house. It cost him $90,000 a month to maintain it. Regrettably, that house was auctioned in 2014, and the guy was finally broke and broken. It is not how much you know, it is your behavior with money that matters, because there is a difference between knowledge and behavior. Chapter 1. No one is crazy. No one is crazy. There is no size that fits us all when it comes to money matters. We all have different behaviors. Some of us are good in saving than others. What is important, every time you receive your income, have a long-term mindset, because eventually a day will come you will not be able to make money. So as you touch money, remember you are custodian of that money. Think about every income from a long-term mindset. Chapter 2. Luck and risk. Some people are born with certain advantages that can't be denied. King Charles III had certain advantages over me and over most of us. But we too are born with certain advantages, each one of us. There are certain opportunities we have that others don't have if we open our eyes. Take advantage of the opportunities around you and manage risks. Don't copy people, because we all have different histories, different backgrounds. Don't buy a car or a house or an outfit or a watch or a ring simply because somebody else did it. You don't know where they got it from. You don't know whether it was a gift or a donation. You don't know whether they are corrupt or whether they stole. You don't know how much they inherited. You don't know their story. You just do you. Don't copy people blindly. Chapter 3. Never enough. Money is never enough. As at now, the richest man on earth is Elon Musk, the owner of Tesla. Guess what? The guy is still working because money is not enough. On the contrary, Mother Teresa lived in one room with just her desk, her book, and she served humanity. Every human being knows Mother Teresa. We don't even remember the billionaires of 50 years ago. And many billionaires today die without anybody knowing them outside their city. You've got to define enough for you. Define what is enough. Don't chase money. Pursue something bigger than you. Pursue purpose and meaning and significance. Don't chase money because money is elusive. Money is a current that flows. You can't catch up with it. So you've got to define what is enough for you. At the same time, don't settle for mediocrity. We need a delicate balance between ambition and contentment. Don't lose what you have, trying to get what you don't have. Chapter 4. Confounding, compounding. Investments grow over time. In this book, The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel says 81.5 billion of Warren Buffett's 84.5 billion net worth came after his 65th birthday. Over 95% of Warren Buffett's net worth came after his 65th birthday. Why? Investments grow over time. So invest early and invest significantly. Don't invest throwaways. Don't invest like you're throwing away. Invest something valuable. For example, you can say every monthly income, I'm setting aside 10% for my passive investments and maybe 10% for my active investment. That means for my current business. But give it a percentage so that you're conscious and you're investing significantly. We are not talking about the amount. I'm talking about the percentage, the proportion of your income. What matters with investments is patience and consistency. Chapter 5. Getting wealthy versus staying wealthy. Getting wealth and keeping wealth are not synonymous. Quick money quickly disappears, so avoid impulsive investments. Learn to diversify your investments because investments sometimes can go wrong. There's a difference between the ability to make money and the ability to keep money. Think about this. Nikola Tesla is the guy who invented remote control. He invented Tesla coil and the three-phase electric power transmission. He had many inventions to his name. The guy knew how to make money. He would attract even funding from JP Morgan. But there's a difference between being able to make money and being able to keep money. Staying wealthy needs humility. Reflecting on chapters 1 to 5, I have a question for you. Do you lack sleep because of money? Do you lack sleep because of money? Do you lack sleep because of debt? You're being auctioned. Do you lack sleep because of taxes? You have not remitted taxes for so long, and the taxman is after your assets. Do you lack sleep because you imagine how employees are stealing your money? Do you lack sleep because you think how your business will collapse, or your investments, your stocks? If you lack sleep because of money, you need to revisit your relationship with money and come up with better ways to manage your money. Chapter 6. Tails, you win. Tails drive everything. Tails here means outliers. 80% of investments literally fail. About 20% succeed. But actually, although 20% may fairly succeed, only 1% really makes the kill. 1% is the silver bullet, the golden key that makes one wealthy. In other words, you can be wrong most of the time and eventually win because of that outlier. That's what we are calling the tail. You know, we are told we have billions and billions and billions of planets in the universe. But to the best of our knowledge, only one planet has life, planet Earth. It is the outlier in this particular case. So there is that one outlier that will end up giving you the money. So what's important? Stay the course. Masters stay the course because they don't know which investment will bring the kill home. Chapter 7. Freedom. A lot of people associate that word freedom with Nelson Mandela. 27 years behind the bars because he believed in something bigger than himself. He was a lawyer of good standing, making decent income in Johannesburg. But he decided to leave it for something bigger than himself, to fight segregation in that great nation of South Africa, and by extension for humanity at large, freedom for humanity at large. You too need to decide your values and your priorities, your indivisible minimums, what you can't negotiate, and live life on your own terms. What that means, it's being able to do what you love doing and to meet your needs, focusing on what really counts for you. Chapter 8, Man in the Car Paradox. Isn't it true when we see a luxurious car, a high-end car, we don't notice the person in the car. We only admire the car and wish we could have the car. We don't notice the person who owns the car. We don't even care who the owner is. We only notice the car. How ironic that most of the things we want to acquire, people don't even notice them. We work so hard, we spend so much, we compromise saving for stuff that even people don't notice. And the more you have, the more you have to lose. The more you keep on worrying not to lose. So find fulfillment in values, in relationships, in experiences. Find meaning and purpose, something that cannot be taken away from you, something that you cannot lose. Chapter 9. Wealth is what we don't see. Success is hidden. There is a difference between rich and wealth. Rich is current, it's visible. Wealth is invisible. Rich is a watch we see, the clothes we see, designer clothes, the cars people drive, the houses where they live. We can see with our naked eye that this person is rich, but he may not be wealthy. I had a personal interaction with a couple that came to me for counseling. Their marriage had gone south. It was on the rocks. And as I was counseling them, these guys lived in the best neighborhood in the city. They drove the best cars in the country, had the most expensive jewelry, watch, name it. They lived such a high-end, luxurious life. What surprised me during the counseling is they came to me because everything was being auctioned. They were losing everything. They looked rich. And so they were, literally. They had material things that could be seen, but everything was in debt. They were not able to pay their mortgage. They were not even able to pay their car loans. People admired them without realizing everything was on loan. So what we see is deceptive. Wealth is beyond material possessions. Wealth is what we don't see. Focus on what really counts, not on impressing others, not on things that easily disappear. Chapter 10. Save money. Save below your ego, because we consume above our ego. It's our ego that starts between us and savings. Anybody can save money. Saving is a decision. You only need to spend less than you make. Spend less than you produce. Don't consume more than you produce. Don't consume before you produce. Don't live your life on credit cards. It is not how much you make that matters. It is how much you keep. At the end of the day, it is not how much you make. It's how much you save. Now, reflecting on chapter 6 to 10, I want to ask you a question. There are three types of people. Number one, people who save money. Number two, people who think they can't save. And number three, people who don't feel a need to save. What type of a person are you? Chapter 11, reasonable is greater than rational. So when it comes to financial matters, the context matters. So rational is what we call logic or numbers. Reasonable is the human element. Kindly allow me to give you a mathematical example to illustrate the difference between reasonable and rational. Let me give you a question. Let me give you a very simple math question. I mean, a middle school math question. What is the answer? 12 divided by 2 times 3 over 2. 12 divided by 2 times 3 over 2 equals A, 1, B, that is 6, C, 9, D, 4. Do the math, do the math. Tell me the answer. It's a simple math question. This is not high school math. This is not college math. This is middle school math. Give me the answer. What's the answer? What is the answer? The correct answer is C, 9. You see, mathematically, you divide before you multiply. So the correct way to do this math, 12 divided by 2 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 divided by 2 equals 9. So you have to divide the numerator before you multiply. You have to divide before you multiply. That's the mathematical rule. It's the logic. It's the rational. So in math, you divide before you multiply. It's rational. It's logical. But it's not reasonable in real life. It's not reasonable to divide. You first multiply your investment before you divide. What takes countries to the knees is people trying to divide before they multiply. You find politicians trying to divide the country's treasury among themselves. That's what we call graft. If you do that, you bring the country on its knees. Even a household, if you keep dividing before you multiply, you will have nothing to keep. You first multiply the cake. In real life, you multiply the cake before you give people the dividends, before you share, before you divide. You first multiply, you first grow the investment before you give people the dividends, before you divide, before you share. So what is mathematically logical, what is rational mathematically, is not reasonable in real life. That's why we are saying reasonable is greater than rational. Reasonable means how things work in real life, the human element, what gives you peace of mind. Let me give you a practical example. Buying a house is not rational. It's not logical. Buying a house before you put up your business is not logical. It's not rational. Any financial expert will tell you, first use the money to put up an investment, to put up a business. Then your business will buy you the house. So buying a house, whether cash or on mortgage, is not rational. It's not logical. You should first put up your business. That's the financial logic. That's the financial rationale. But that is not reasonable. It's logical, it's rational, but it's not reasonable. What is reasonable is that having the house will give me peace of mind. Having the house will help me to go out there and look for money with a place called my home. I have settled my family. I have something that is not financial, but is human. I can't quantify it. It is human. I have a home. My children have a place they call home. They don't keep on moving from one place to another, from one rental house to another. I have a place I can plant vegetables in my backyard or do what I feel like because it's my house. It gives me certain security. It's not rational financially, but it's reasonable. What we are saying from this book, reasonable is greater than rational. You first focus on your peace of mind. That's not my argument. That's what Morgan Housel is saying. And he lives by that principle. Reasonable is greater than rational. Chapter 12. Surprise! Yes, chapter 12. surprise. Life has a lot of surprises. Patterns in history change. Things that have never happened do happen. Things that have never happened do happen. Life is not a straight path. It has bends and bumps, meanders. It's crooked. It's not straight. So don't rely too heavily on investment history. In The Intelligent Investor, one of the greatest books on investment of all times, written by Benjamin Graham, it was revised 5 times by the author, 1934, 1949, 1954, 1972. The guy died in 1976. Is it possible if he had lived up to this day, 2024, maybe he could have revised his book over and over again more than 10 times? Think about this, one of the greatest books on investment of all times. The formulas in the book were changed 5 times between 1934 and 1972 because what used to work in 1934 did not work in 1949, did not work in 1954, did not work in 1965, did not work in 1972. If such an expert financial matters kept changing his financial formulas, I suggest to you, therefore, you can't rely on what happened in the stock market in the 70s, in the 80s. The dynamics keep changing. Outliers move the needle the most. What that means, it could be the 1%, what I'm calling the outlier, that is going to cause the biggest change in your life, the biggest change in your business, the biggest change in your finances. So expect surprises in this life. Don't be rigid. Learn from history, but don't become a slave of history. Chapter 13, room for error. Yes, leave room for error. Anticipate setbacks. When we are going for elections, we expect the best, but sometimes elections go wrong and there is post-electoral violence, sadly so. Nobody expects war, but things happen. Right now, there is war in the Middle East. There is war between Russia and Ukraine. We expect peace, but stuff happens. We expect to be in good health, but sometimes we fall sick. Everybody gets married hoping for the best. Nobody gets married anticipating to fight with their partner or even to divorce. We all start a business hoping to make a profit, hoping our business will succeed. No one can put money in a business hoping the business to fail. So in real life, you must anticipate and plan for setbacks. You've got to learn to manage risks. So build emergency fund because a rainy day comes. Avoid excessive debt. Don't bite beyond you can chew what you can chew. And diversify investments. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I'm not suggesting you start 2, 3, 4 businesses. You will fail. As a startup, focus on one business, but don't invest in one place. What that means, you can invest in real estate, for example, but in different cities. You can put up a building here, a building there, a building in another city, and don't put all your money in real estate. Put some money in stocks, put some money in bonds. That's what I'm saying. Diversify your investments. Be flexible. Don't be rigid on one type of investments because the money market, for example, can collapse. So if you only believe in stocks, they can go wrong. If you only believe in real estate, the housing market has collapsed and it can happen again. So be flexible, diversify your investment. Whatever you make from your business or from your profession, from your career, from your job, diversify your savings, diversify your investments. Chapter 14, you will change. Not you might, not you may, you will change, so be open to change. I don't agree with most things that Charles Darwin said, but I think there is one irrefutable truth that Charles Darwin said. In the jungle, it is not the strongest, it is not the most intelligent species that survive. It is the most adaptable species that survive. Yes, strong species get eliminated, but it is the one that is most adaptable to the changes in nature that survive. What is true in the jungle is true among humans because financial priorities change, economic conditions change. You have to adapt quickly. It is not the most intelligent people that maintain their marriage. It is those who are most adaptable to change because these are two human beings. They have to find common ground. They must be willing to adapt to change. It is the business that is most adaptable to change that eventually survives the forces of change. Change is the only constant thing in life. So adapt quickly. Right now, the world is moving towards AI. What are you doing about it? Are you adapting accordingly? Chapter 15, nothing is free. Yes, there ain't no free lunch. If anyone invites you for lunch, look for the catch. Everything has a price. Everything has a price. So before you invest, check for hidden costs. Go for investments. Don't shy from investments, but check for the hidden costs. Invest when the benefits outweigh the hidden costs. What is critical when you're making an investment decision, pick on the investment that is full of transparency and low costs. The benefits outweigh the cost of the investment because nothing is free. The banker doesn't give you money for free. The guy who is selling you an investment opportunity is out to make money from you. So check whether your personal benefits outweigh the cost of that investment. Reflecting on chapters 11 to 15, I have a question for you. What financial game are you playing? What financial game are you playing? Are you looking for long-term investments or for the quick wins? Are you an honest investor or are you the fraudster who is trying to con people money? Are you focusing on building wealth or impressing people who don't even like you in the first place? Are you focusing on stability or are you a gambler? What financial game are you playing? Chapter 16, you and me, we play different investment games. We have different financial values. Don't imagine everyone has the same values like you. Everyone believes the same things you believe. That's why you should not accept advice blindly. For example, you could be focusing on long term and somebody else is focusing on short-term gains. You could be an honest person who wants to make honest money and you're focusing on honest deals. And the person you're interacting with right now is not honest. It's through hooks or crooks. They don't believe in the means. They think the end justifies the means. They don't care the means. Whoever they can bring down to be rich, whatever they can mess to be rich. They're guys who don't care whether they mess up their marriage, they mess up with their children, they mess up with their health on their way to the top. So we have different values. So be very careful who advises you and what values they stand for. We should never ever use people. We should use money. Money is a tool for connection, for collaborating with others. Use money, value people. Don't value money and use people. Use money and value people. Money is just a means of acquiring what we want. It should not be a need. People are important than money. Chapter 17, the seduction of pessimism. The seduction of pessimism is self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, we have people who are totally averse about investments. They fear investments. They are investment phobic. They can't put anything in investment. They keep asking themselves, what can go wrong? What if I lose my money? If you're like that, you will never make anything in this life. You will never know. You will never live to your full potential. So don't be investment averse. Don't miss out on opportunities. The key thing is to balance between risks and opportunities. Balance between risks and benefits. When the benefits outweigh the risks, go for it. When the opportunities outweigh the risks, go for it. Be a sensible optimist. Chapter 18, when you will believe anything, when you're naive. This is the opposite of the pessimist. Someone who is totally naive. They believe everything they hear. They believe every myth, every story. You know, stories are more powerful than data. Stories are more appealing to data. The reason people fall for fraudsters is because fraudsters package stories and they even present fake testimonials. And when we hear stories, or especially of people we know, we tend to believe them more than we trust data and statistics. You know what? It's easy to avoid fraudsters. Frauds are avoidable. Why? Because frauds promise you outrageous profits within no time. They promise you very outrageous margins and profits and returns on your investments in an extremely short period of time. And that's the easiest way to know this is a con game. Because money is not grown on trees. Money doesn't grow overnight. What is genuine takes time. Invest based on sound financial principles. At any given moment, don't keep your brains away from you. You've got to listen to everybody's story and weigh between myth and fact. Always weigh between myth and reality, between myth and data. Don't be naive and fall for myths. Chapter 19, all together now. All together now. It's your money. It doesn't matter what I tell you right now or what Morgan Housel tells you in his great book, The Psychology of Money. It's your money. You worked for it. You earned it. Do what you feel like. Your money. It's your money. It's up to you to make the decision. Listen to advice. Consult widely. But let the decision be based on your own conclusions. Don't let your uncle, your dad, your mom, your brother, your sister. Don't let anybody make conclusions for you. Listen. You are a thinking being. Let your money choices be based on your personal conclusions. You know, in this book, The Psychology of Money, Morgan Housel tells a story of a patient who died after going through surgery in the hands of a dentist. He lost 16 of his teeth and did not even recover. And eventually the wife of the patient sued the dentist. In those days, patients were not consulted. The doctor did what they thought was in the best interest of the patient. The patient's opinion didn't count, didn't matter at all. The doctors were Mr. and Miss Know-It-All. Today, doctors have changed their approach from treating diseases to treating patients. They don't treat cancer. They treat a cancer patient. They consult. They inform the patient everything they are doing. I went through open heart surgery because my aortic valve collapsed. But the doctors consulted me on every procedure. For example, they put a mechanical valve in my heart and they had to ask me whether I want a mechanical valve or a fiber valve. I had to make a decision. I made a decision. I want a mechanical valve. So today, patients are consulted on the treatment. So money is both a science and an art. You're not just a recipient of information. You have to be involved in your financial decisions. So I repeat, money is both a science and an art. A science means there are universal principles and procedures. If you follow, you're going to succeed. They have been tested and proven over and over again. But money is also an art. Money involves the human element. Money involves ingenuity, creativity, innovativeness, an aspect of the person. So you've got to balance between the financial principles and your own intuition, your own sixth sense, your own guts. Because a lot of people succeeded by just following guts. They broke all the rules. They broke all the financial principles we know. And yet they made it because they followed something higher, a higher dimension, a sixth sense, intuition. They followed guts. They followed something bigger than themselves, bigger than the principles laid down. They became the next trend setters. They became students of financial analysts, and financial students started studying them. They became case studies for financial students. What is important? Less ego, more wealth. Don't feed your ego, and you're going to build your wealth base, your wealth portfolio. You're going to enhance your net worth if you don't feed your ego. Feeding your ego means buying stuff to impress others. Avoid that. Stop feeding your ego and begin feeding on your investment. Chapter 20, Confessions. So chapter 20 is literally Morgan Housel's personal relationship with money. His personal relationship with money. How he himself deals with money. The reason he did this chapter is because sometimes there's a difference between what people tell you to do and what they do. Sometimes there's a difference between how marriage counselors tell you to do in your marriage and what they do in their own marriage. In fact, Morgan says this: the way a lot of some doctors advise people to die is not how they die themselves when they reach the tail end of their lives. Because they give the professional advice based on certain realities. They don't want, for example, to be accused by the family of the patient that they killed their patient by turning off the life machines. So they may know this patient will be on a life machine for 6 months, but they will give the family that advice, maybe for the guy to be on the life-saving machine for many weeks, many months. But they themselves will advise the doctor to turn off the machine quickly. They don't want a prolonged pain. But if they told somebody else the same advice, they might be accused of killing the patient. So sometimes there's a difference between the advice we give and what we do in our own lives. And that's why Morgan Housel decides to give a confession of his personal relationship with money. I have 2 takeaways from his own confessions. Number 1 is the way he defined independence. He said, quote, "Independence to me doesn't mean you stop working. It means you only do the work you like with people you like at the times you want for as long as you want." Now, this is radical because most of us think financial independence is when you stop working. I like this because what Morgan Housel wrote is what I believe, and that's what I have taught for many years. Financial independence is not stopping to work. If you stop to work, you die. You lack meaning. You lack purpose. Financial independence is not stopping to work. No. Financial independence is when you do what you love doing. And you don't work to pay the bills. You work because you love making a difference in people's lives. You work because that's what gives you meaning and fulfillment, a sense for living. And then the second thing Morgan Housel says, he lives below his means. He lives below his means. And that simply means he is able to save his income. At any given moment, he has always saved his income, and he doesn't live on credit cards. He spends what he earns and is able to save from his earnings. reflecting on chapters 16 to 20. I have a question for you. This question was asked by Sunday Gottsman, the founder of First Manhattan Consulting Group, a multi-billionaire. Every time people came for interview in his company, he used to ask them this question: what do you own and why? I want to ask you to reflect seriously on this question. It's a very weighty question. What do you own and why? You know, you can fool others, but you can't fool yourself. You know the truth about what you own. You know your assets and your liabilities. What is your bottom line? When you're not trying to impress others, when you're not trying to fool the society, what do you own and why? I'll leave you with that. If this video made a sense to you, if you benefited from this video, please give me a comment. If you have a question, post it as a comment in this video. I promise you, I will answer your question. If you believe this video can help somebody else, please share with them and click the subscription button and hit the notification bell for you to be notified when I upload new videos. I upload new videos every week. You don't want to miss out on my latest videos. Thank you so much.